Hey, thanks so much for being here and watching this video. If you enjoy this kind of content, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. I'm working toward hitting 1,000 subscribers, and your support truly makes a difference. Don't forget to leave a like so more people can discover this story. Every video I make takes time, effort, and a lot of care just for you. Feel free to share it with your friends and make sure to stick around until the end. I hope you enjoy it. He smirked and said, I destroyed the kitchen. So she'd panic and hand over the money from Grandma's apartment. They watched me walk into the wreck. Through the camera. Something had already shifted, and there was no undoing it now. The moment the noise hit the hallway, it felt like something heavier than furniture had collapsed, like a line had been crossed quietly, permanently. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Andrew Bell, and you're on Strangers Who Feel Like Family. The crash echoed again in Lydia's ears as she froze mid-sip, the cheap teabag string brushing her lip. It tasted like damp cardboard. She'd stretched the grocery budget thin this month. Loose leaf wasn't happening. Then the front door burst open. Two figures pushed inside without hesitation. First came Victor, breathing hard, wiping sweat off his upper lip like he'd just dragged something uphill. Right behind him, propelling him, was Zena Turner. His mother, of course. Same routine. Coat hanging open. Scarf dragging across the floor like it belonged to the apartment now. In her hands, a bulky bag that clanked with every step. Not groceries, something heavier, deliberate. Lydia, honey, come take your new toy, Zena barked, not even pausing to remove her boots. Wet street grime smeared across the entry rug Lydia had scrubbed clean just last night. It soaked in instantly, like the apartment itself had given up resisting. What toy? Lydia asked quietly, placing her cup down with care. She already felt it coming, that slow, familiar heaviness spreading under her ribs. Not panic, not anger. Something thicker. Something that lingered. Security, Victor announced, too fast, too bright. His eyes flickered, restless. This was his look. Every time his mother planted an idea in his head, and he decided it was his own. We talked it over, he added, glancing back at Zena for approval. Things aren't safe right now. You're selling your grandma's place. Money's coming in, a lot of it. And this neighborhood? He scoffed. Anyone can walk through here. He dug into the box and pulled out a white dome camera on a stand. Smooth, round, watching. A single unblinking eye. Surveillance, Zena added, already moving into the kitchen like she owned it. She nudged Lydia's cup toward the edge of the table without asking, clearing space for her bag. Motion sensors, audio recording. Victor will hook it up, feed straight to our phones, so we know no strangers are sneaking around. Lydia looked at her husband. 38, senior office manager at a dental clinic. She handled angry patients all day, people demanding perfection for the price of scraps. She negotiated, de-escalated, absorbed pressure. She understood numbers, and she understood this. This wasn't about burglars. This was a leash. I didn't agree to being recorded in my own home, she said, voice even. Our home, Victor corrected instantly. His jaw tightened. Lydia, don't start. This is for your own good. You're highly careless. You'd let some random utility guy in, and next thing, boom, you're gone and the money disappears. The money will be in an account, Victor. No cash. Accounts get hacked, Zena snapped, already opening the fridge. Oh, there's no soup? Victor comes home hungry. Do you even think about your husband or just your inheritance? Lydia didn't answer. She just watched as Zena rearranged her shelves, shifting pots, inspecting contents like a landlord doing a surprise check. Her grandmother's apartment had just sold. Deposit already transferred. Closing in a week. $350,000. An old two-bedroom on the edge of Chicago? Nothing glamorous. But to Victor and Zena, it might as well have been blood in the water. Victor wanted a car. His old Mazda was falling apart. Zena wanted renovations at her cottage. And dental work. They'd already spent the money in their heads. Lydia hadn't. She didn't want a car. She wanted something quieter, something steadier. A life where she didn't have to calculate every expense against fear. We're not installing cameras, she repeated. Victor's face flushed instantly, red spreading up his neck. He slammed the box onto the table hard enough to rattle the dishes. We are. I'm the head of this family, aren't I? I said security. That means security. You always complicate everything, Lydia. Always the smartest one in the room. Zena smiled faintly, biting straight into a stick of sausage, grease catching on her lipstick. Put one on top of the fridge, she said casually. Good angle, and another in the hallway. Lydia's eyes drifted to her cup. A thick smear of lipstick marked the rim. Zena's shade? Dark red. Not wiped, not acknowledged. Something inside Lydia shifted. Not sharp, not loud. Cold, solid. Like ice locking into place. Go ahead, she thought. Install them. Watch everything. This is going to be interesting. The week before closing turned into something sticky. Suffocating. The cameras blinked red day and night. One sat in the kitchen, aimed directly at the table where Lydia sorted bills. The other hung in the hallway, tracking every movement, every entrance, every exit. Life became a show she never agreed to star in. Why were you home at 7:15 yesterday? Victor asked one night, not looking at her, just scrolling through his phone. Your shift ends at 6. I stopped by the store. No receipt in the bag, he muttered. I checked. Where were you for an hour and 15 minutes? It wasn't jealousy, it was surveillance. A woman about to receive money needed to be managed. Zena called 5 times a day now. Lydia, I saw you open that jewelry box in the bedroom. What were you looking for? Documents. You should give them to Victor. He'll keep them safe. He's got a safe in the garage. He doesn't have a safe. Well, a drawer then. Just don't carry them around yourself. You'll lose them. You're forgetful. Remember when you left your umbrella on the bus? What was that, 2015? They pressed in constantly. Not subtle, not clever. Just relentless. Victor stopped pretending to look for work altogether. Why would he? Money was coming. He lay on the couch all day, watching shows, picking at his teeth with a toothpick, outlining business plans like they were already real. Car wash, he said one afternoon. Automatic, Karcher systems. Money just flows. You don't get it, Lydia. It's an investment. He glanced at her, smirking slightly. And what do you want? Another mortgage? Bigger place? More bills? He didn't wait for her answer, because somewhere between the cameras, the calls, and the quiet invasion of her space, he had already decided she didn't get to choose anymore. He didn't realize it yet, but the decision had already been made without him. By the time he asked, it was already too late to matter, and the part he thought he controlled was the only part slipping. Why would we need a 3-bedroom? Victor scoffed, like the idea itself was wasteful. We're fine here. We. That word sat wrong. They weren't fine. They were 3 people packed into Lydia's 1-bedroom apartment, the one she bought before him. Lydia, Victor, and 10-year-old Paul. Paul did his homework at the kitchen table while the TV blared 2 feet away. Paul slept on a folding chair that clicked every time he turned. Paul had learned to stay quiet without being asked. Lydia said nothing. She'd gotten good at that. All week she moved through the apartment like a shadow. Work, dinner, dishes, homework checks, bed. Always turning toward the wall. Always silent. But she wasn't passive. She just didn't act where they could see. Lied? You sure about this? Rita asked, lowering her voice. They were squeezed into the supply room at the dental clinic. The air smelled like disinfectant and burnt coffee. Rita leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Big, steady, the kind of woman who'd survived things and didn't bother hiding it. What's the risk? Rita pressed. That they'll eat me alive, Lydia said simply. Your husband might still... I talked to him for 10 years. Lydia didn't raise her voice. He listens to his mother. A beat. They've already spent the money, Rita. In their heads, it's gone. I'm just the ATM that's temporarily glitching. She pulled a folder from her bag and slid it across. I need you to do something for me on closing day. Thursday came gray and wet. the kind of November morning that made the whole city feel damp. Victor was already pacing. He'd put on his only decent suit, tight across the shoulders now, and kept checking his pockets like something might vanish if he stopped moving. "You got your passport? The property extract?" he snapped. "You remember the banking passwords?" "Don't mess this up, Lydia." She zipped her boots slowly, head down so he wouldn't catch her expression. "Mom's meeting us at the bank," he added. "Why?" she asked, still calm. "For support, and because this is serious money." "I can handle it, Victor. It's my signature, my apartment." "Our apartment," he barked, loud enough that even the hallway camera seemed to flicker. "Everything in marriage is shared. Don't even think about pulling anything today. We close and the money goes straight into my account." "Better interest. I checked." Lydia paused. "Okay," she said quietly. Too quietly. It landed soft, obedient. Victor exhaled, tension draining just enough. He tapped her shoulder like she'd finally understood something simple. "That's better. Tonight we celebrate. Mom made aspic." They left together. But near the subway entrance, Lydia stopped. "Victor, I forgot my phone. It's on the charger. The banking app's on it." He groaned, rolling his eyes. "Seriously? I told you. Go, run. I'll wait. Or, no, I'll come with you." "No, you go ahead. Get in line." "We have an appointment. They might give it away. I'll be quick." He hesitated, just for a second. Then greed won. "Fine, run, if we're late." He pointed a finger. "Don't test me." He disappeared into the station. Lydia watched until he was gone. Then she turned. Not toward home. She slipped a second phone from her coat pocket. Old, buttoned, silent. No one knew about it. "Mr. Petrov?" "Yes, I'm on my way." "No, my husband won't be attending." "The deal stands. I have all the documents." She ordered a cab to a completely different bank. The real one. 2 hours later, her main phone was vibrating nonstop. 48 missed calls from Victor, 20 from Zena. Lydia sat across from a notary. The buyer, a young guy in tech, polite, distracted, had already signed. "Ms. Sokolov, the transfer details are correct," he asked. "Yes." "The funds will be held until registration clears, then released to the seller." Except the seller, wasn't exactly Lydia anymore. She placed a second document on the table. A purchase agreement. The buyer didn't care. It wasn't his problem. The structure was simple. Brutal. The money from her grandmother's apartment would never touch an account Victor could access. No persuasion, no pressure, no leverage. It would move automatically. Straight into a new property, a 2-bedroom unit under construction. Different neighborhood, registered under her mother's name, Tamara Sokolov. By the time anyone tried to reach it, there would be nothing left to take. At 3 p.m., Lydia stepped outside. The rain had stopped. The air felt sharp, clean. She turned her main phone back on. It screamed immediately. "Where are you?" Victor's voice tore through the speaker. "We're at the bank. There's no appointment. They're saying you never booked anything." "I'm downtown," Lydia said evenly. "They moved the meeting. Sorry, it got hectic." "Stop lying. Mom's blood pressure. Forget that. Where's the money?" "I'll be home in an hour. We'll talk." "An hour," he repeated, voice dropping. "If you're not here in an hour, I don't know what I'll do." He hung up. Victor got home before she did. Zena probably stayed behind somewhere. Bench, pharmacy, wherever she went to perform concern. Lydia didn't rush. She stopped at a store, bought a cheap wafer cake, Paul's favorite. Paul wasn't home. Thank God. Not for this. As she approached the building, her phone buzzed again. Smart home alert, motion detected. Kitchen camera. She stopped, opened the app. The live feed came up instantly. Victor was tearing the kitchen apart. He looked wrong. Face twisted. Tie hanging loose, crooked. Movements sharp, erratic. He yanked open cabinets, throwing out jars, bags, plates. Flour spilled across the floor. Something shattered. Then he grabbed the drawer of utensils and flipped it hard. Metal clattered everywhere. He stood there for a second, breathing. Then he said something, low, tight, and reached for something just out of frame. The word hit him, but it didn't land all at once. It pushed through slowly, like something forcing its way through thick fog. And for the first time, his certainty hesitated. "Divorce?" Victor repeated, blinking like he'd misheard. "What divorce?" "A normal one." Lydia's voice didn't rise. She slid the papers back into the folder with precise, controlled movements. Then she nodded toward the camera. "You see that? You installed it. You made sure your mom had access." Her gaze flicked briefly to the wreckage around them. "Everything you just did, it's recorded. Audio too." Victor's eyes shifted, just slightly. "You threatened me," she continued. "You said you'd tear the place apart, that you'd come after me." She didn't rush. "Criminal threats. That's a charge." She pulled out her phone. "I already called it in, from the subway. I told them my husband was destroying the apartment and making threats. The footage is backed up. I can show it. Or you can pack your things and leave. Now." Silence collapsed over the kitchen. Victor sank onto the stool like something inside him had given way. The flour had settled into his suit, coating it in pale dust, turning him into something ridiculous. Hollow. His jaw trembled. You won't do that," he muttered. "We have Paul. Paul will stay with me in the new apartment." "And me?" His voice cracked. Lydia looked at him, really looked, and something unfamiliar surfaced. Not anger, not sadness, disgust. "You'll pay child support," she said calmly. "From that off-the-books job you brag about. I know where you actually work. I know what you make." A beat. "I'm sure the IRS would be interested too." The doorbell cut through the air, sharp, demanding. Victor flinched. "Lydia." "Lydia," he started, sliding off the stool, dropping to his knees in the mess. Flour and shards ground under him. "Don't open it. Just say we argued. Please, my mom got in my head, that's all. I'll fix it. I'll clean everything right now." He scrambled, grabbing broken pieces with bare hands. Glass bit into his palms. Blood dotted the white flour in uneven, spreading patterns. "I said I'll fix it," he repeated, faster now, almost frantic. "Just don't... stop!" Her voice was cold, flat. He froze. Lydia stepped past him, reached behind the fridge, and yanked the camera cord free. The red light died instantly. The feed cut. Whatever control he thought he had ended right there. She turned, walked toward the door, and with every step something heavy lifted from her shoulders. Not all at once, but enough to breathe. 10 years. Gone. She opened it. A young police lieutenant stood there, posture straight, expression already assessing. "You called this in, ma'am." Lydia glanced back once. Victor was still on his knees in the half-dark kitchen, surrounded by the ruins of everything he thought he owned. Smaller now, quieter, irrelevant. "Yes," she said. And for the first time in years, she smiled. Not politely, not carefully. For real. "My ex-husband is inside," she added. "He's been threatening me. I'd like him removed." She stepped aside, let the officer in, and didn't look back again. The apartment was sold, but that wasn't what freed her. That had just been money. This was the first thing she'd bought in years that actually belonged to her. And the price? Lower than she ever expected. Just one destroyed kitchen. And the moment she finally stopped asking for permission,